So we're going to be talking about the floral portion of my arm. So this was done, God, what year was this worked on? Um, so Phil Bartell did it, and he started working on my arm, I believe, before he moved out to Colorado. So that would be somewhere around 2000. So it's been a minute. And we did the outline, or actually, no, was he? So maybe 2001. So, because then I think he came back. So we did the outline in Elizabeth. So, yeah, so he was already out in Colorado, but came back for a guest spot. Worked on my arm in Elizabeth for the outline. I was there all day. And then I had an outline on my arm for a year. And I thought he was coming back for that holiday season, but he did not. So that's how I ended up with the outline for a year. And then I went out to Colorado and I got it worked on out there for 2 days. I don't know if I would recommend back-to-back sessions and then going to the airport. It sort of wasn't fun. Um, and they talk about the Moody Tuesdays after, going to a rave and taking drugs all weekend long and then crashing. That's sort of how I felt in the airport. I cried while trying to feed myself. It was a little amusing because then because I had missed my flight, because we had redressed my arm because we put an adult wee wee pad on it and it was sort of sticking. So we redressed it before I went. And the airport, they had a cutoff time of 45 minutes. So I got there at 45 minutes and like, yeah, you're not making your flight. And I'm like, all right. And so I just like bummed around and I was like, well, I can, wander around. There's some cool shit here, nice restaurants. I can have lunch, breakfast, and then I can have lunch and, because I had 7 hours to kill. And they had art galleries and, stuff like that. So I was like, I can keep myself occupied. And then I was like, oh, nobody knows that I've missed my flight back at home. So my ride at the airport. So I got to let these people know. And it's the morning. So my parents are both at work. And I was like, I'll call my sister. She's got a cell phone. She'll pick up. I'll be able to tell her that I just missed my flight. So I'm sitting in this French bistro overlooking the airport, and it's night. I have this order in for some yummy stuff, and I'm like, all right, let's call the sister. And I like call her up. I'm like, as soon as I start talking to her, burst into tears. So then she thinks there's something wrong. And I'm like, no, I just got my arm tattooed and it just hurts. I was like, I have no happy chemicals left on board. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, well, get your shit together and I'll talk to you later. Bye. And like hangs up on me. Got me to laugh. I thought it was fucking hilarious. So, and she at least passed on the message to my parents. So that was good. But then my parents were like completely mortified, like by the time I got home, because I called them and I told them at my layover that they needed to get me adult wee wee pads and some ointment. Because by the time I got home, the stores would be closed now and I couldn't do it for myself. And they're like, we need to get what? And I was like, yeah, you need to get me these things. And they're like, why do you do this to yourself? And I was like, because it's fun. Yeah, and they're like, oh my God. I was like, look how pretty it is. I was also very swollen because at that point I didn't realize that I had EDS, and if you're with EDS, you have a whole bunch of comorbidities and food sensitivities. So I didn't know this, and so when I was getting my arm tattooed, it was like 3 times the size. And so I get home, and it's a meaty, poofy thing, and but just dressing it and wrapping it and everything like that, and as it was healing, I move on from my ointment to my hand lotion, and I go, and I hit my elbow, and I had a slit, like somebody hit me with a razor on the elbow, like it had just split open. So that's also another EDS thing that I didn't know. It was just like, oh, I was like, that's crazy, and then just kept using the hand lotion, and eventually everything settled in, and it came about because the imagery came about by me picking out Gothic architecture in an architectural book I had and earmarking them with post-it notes. And then I had a floral book. And I earmarked all the different flowers I liked as well. And I just handed both of the books to Phil. And he's like, well, which ones do you want? I was like, the ones that you can make work together. And so then that's how I ended up with all that.